Hello, 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 and thank you so much for pressing play on the latest edition of the Michigan Soccer Central podcast, your somewhat weekly dip into the world's game being played right here in the Great Lakes state of Michigan. How you doing? My name is Robert Kerr, host of the program, as always. What what a strange emotional sports weekend we just had. We're recording late night on January 29th here. You know, 48 hours after Jurgen Klopp said he was going to leave my beloved Liverpool at the end of the season. And then the Lions had a heartbreaking loss in the NFC Championship game, which was bizarre. They were there, and then they pulled a Lions move. So it was a bit of a quagmire emotionally, sports wise, but got to press on, and thank goodness there is lots of local soccer going on for us to bite into. Um, as you can see on teams' social media, that player announcements are coming up, and season prep, and may even seen some tryouts, some roster building is already going on for the 2024 professional and spring and summer amateur seasons. So definitely keep it locked into at MI Soccer Central to keep up to date on all the announcements because they're coming in thick and fast. The list of just new club announcements alone is pretty lengthy. So my saying that I've come to have as a pillar um, of my inquest into soccer here in the Great Lakes State is the only constant in Michigan soccer, and you could say about American soccer. The only constant is the constant change. And so we've already had an active summer league season, and uh, I've, two or three professional teams in Metro Detroit area. But just in the last couple weeks alone, elite amateur teams to step into new clubs being formed. I've got quite a few listed here. We've already got in the Midwest Premier League, Ypsilanti Yetis, in the USL2, Union Macomb. Over in UPSL, they got Rail Detroit, UPSL Stars Academy. Um, there's also on the women's side, actually, I forgot another one. The South Bend Lions rebranded as Michiana, which is an interesting development there. Might have to get some of the supporters there or someone from that club to talk about the renaming to Michiana. On the women's side, there's Corktown WFC joining the WPSL. Michiana also adding a USLW team. And then I also saw that the UPSL added Dearborn United. And then and then in one of the other women's leagues, the UWS, a new team in Livonia called E14. So, um, by no means a comprehensive list, but just looking ahead to tonight's program, I thought I'd let you know that you got to keep it locked into at MI Soccer Central to get your Michigan soccer fix because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 at least 8. Oh, and then add in on the west side of the state in the Arena Soccer League, Great Lakes Football Club are underway in their first season. So between half a dozen and a dozen clubs being added here in the Great Lakes state. So the entrepreneurialism and the player pool and the interest in the sport and in club building is enduring as lots more teams join in the ranks. The USL2 Great Lakes division with the addition of Union Macomb, makes it even more dense in the elite amateur ranks and makes the Great Lakes division of USL2 even more competitive, I'm sure, than it already was. And then that brings us to this week's feature interview, another Michigan team with big changes on the way in 2024. I've got the brand new named CEO of the Michigan Stars, Chris Mclnally, on the program as our feature interview. And we get to hear about the new goals for the club and their staff building efforts as they are looking to build the club outside of just the team on the field. They've recognized the need to expand and add some staff, and we're going to hear about that, as well as some tidbits about the approaching NISA season. Chris drops a couple nuggets as to what's happening with maybe some new format quirks coming up with NISA 2024, and we'll also hear about their interest, the Stars' interest in looking at other leagues too. So, an interesting look at running a team at this level, as Chris wears many hats, and he's been the GM for 2 years, and he's stepping into a whole new role, taking a lot of responsibilities from owner George Youngkai as becoming the CEO of the Michigan Stars. So enjoy my interview with Chris Mclnally here on the Michigan Soccer Central podcast. My next guest has taken the next step within the Michigan Stars organization, serving 2 years as the general manager and now recently being announced as the CEO. I'm very excited to welcome our next guest, CEO of the Michigan Stars, Chris Mclnally. Welcome to the Michigan Soccer Central podcast, sir.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing very well. I really appreciate you coming on the show. Like I said, 3rd year with the Michigan Stars, who under your reign as general manager won the NISA championship 2 seasons ago, and were hosts and the finalists last year in NISA. And now you've taken over as CEO. Congratulations. And kind of what does it mean to step into this position?
Well, thank you, first of all. What does it mean to step into this position? It means more work. That's the easiest thing to say. George and I sat down. We've really been having this discussion for about 6-8 months, and part of that discussion is how do we make the Stars grow not only on the field but off the field. And we were kind of looking at some other leagues this off season, and had some discussions with some different leagues, and decided at the last minute that we were going to go back into NISA. And really, for the last 2 weeks, it's been a crazy whirlwind for me to not only look at the brand and how we're going to try to elevate the brand, but also to find players for the team. And I think the change you're going to see this season is more in the front office. So we're looking to hire some people for sales. We're looking to hire some people for marketing, looking to hire somebody from social media. And we've already been conducting those interviews. And we just are doing our best to take this club from where it's been in the past to give it a shot of some steroids and really see what we can do with it. We've never really focused on the sales and marketing side of it, and social media side. We've always really focused on the team and tried to get a team that people would like to come and watch. And so this is going to be the first season where, and it might not happen at the beginning, but as we put the team together, the front office team together, hopefully down the road we'll see some increases in attendance, and you'll see an increase in marketing and social media and different things like that.
Interesting. So it's a kind of Stars 2 or 3.0 here, so there's going to be a whole, building out of the staff and kind of a change in philosophy. Then it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. We knew, I've grown up in a background with being in sports. I used to work at the Palace when I was a lot younger, and I did some stuff with the Vipers. They had a minor league hockey team that played out of there, and I really saw the front office side of it, and I've been talking to George now and really telling him, the team at the Palace was this big, and the sales and marketing team was this gigantic amount of people in order to make the whole team run. So, we've gotten pretty good at this part, and now let's just see what we can do and see if we can get the big part to happen as well.
Interesting. And you said that this was a conversation that's been over a number of months, and it sounds like it was kind of a slow burn up to this decision. And from, this is a serious change. Like you said, the club was largely focused on the team, and now maybe building out the brand and the club. Um, and you brought up George Youngkai, and he was, the club seemed like definitely a very personal thing to him. It was very important to him, and it was kind of very much family run. There's players in his family, and obviously he's like the kind of the front of the organization. So how is it like the turning over of the torch? Was it sounds like how was that a difficult thing for him to do?
I just think he's watched me work over the last couple years and has trusted me and sees that I'm doing the best that I can do for the club, and I think there's things that I might know that he doesn't know, and to be able to tap on some of my history and my resources to try to take this club to the next level. I think is what he's looking for. And, as we were having some communications with some other leagues this off season, it became apparent to us that in order for us to continue to grow the brand, that we needed to step it up in this department. And so that's what we're trying to do. So it's a lot to take on. I think we've hired a social media person, and we've been interviewing a couple of sales and marketing people. So it's going quickly, and hopefully in the next week or so, those hires will be put in place, and we can go off and running. But he's George has a love for soccer, and maybe this gives him a little bit more time to spend with the team and not worrying about all the other stuff. So I think that's part of it. Is he's busy with his companies, and it's for me to focus on only the team, and now to put a team in place. It just makes sense for us at this point.
So what would be one of the first goals? Like what are I guess the building blocks? Like what are the layers to add on to the Michigan Stars?
Well, I think it's twofold, but I think the biggest thing is getting, well, there's two things that are most important: getting people in the seats to watch the product that we're putting out there, and then to start to see some of the marketing efforts kick in. So whether it's advertising, whether it's social media, we have to do stuff to draw not only fans but also to some money to the club. We've been, George has funded the entire club, with his own private funds, and I don't think that's fair to him. So we're looking to go out and find some advertisers and some people that want to support the Michigan Stars, whether it's a name on a jersey, a patch on a jersey, whether it's some advertising as far as banners and different things visually. We do a pretty good job with our broadcast. So there's some opportunities to get some mentioning on our TV broadcast. We own the Sports Center, which brings almost 1 million people a year to that facility. So there's opportunities to hang banners and do promotions and stuff like that inside the facility. So it's really untapped, and it's just a matter of us really reaching into that pocket to pull out some money to help us fund not only the team this year but going forward as well.
So it sounds like you've been tasked to build out the club, but also kind of turn it into its own sustainable entity, or at least more so.
Yes, correct, absolutely.
So with that said, one of the big things you mentioned was butts and seats. So where does the future lie for the home of the Stars then? At Romeo High School or up by the Sports Center? Where's the home games going to be played short term, and then where's the desired home base to get those butts and seats?
Yeah, I think short term, we're getting pretty comfortable at Romeo High School. I've got a pretty good relationship with the people at the school. My son will be going there in another couple years, so it's it's a nice home for us now. But I think in the future, I think it just depends on where we go, if we go to other leagues. I just think it just depends on the opportunities that present itself to us. Um, we originally had plans for a stadium. We put the turf field in, and we just kind of paused because some of the numbers we were getting to build a stadium were 30, 40 million, and I think you got to see a little bit of money coming in before an investment is made to that structure and that nature. So I think it's something that we would love to do. The location is great. It's right off of a major freeway. We have the indoor facility there as well. Our locker rooms are there as well. So um, I don't think it would be that big of an endeavor to build it there, but I just think we have to find the right league, the right home for us, and get some support. Our youth club does a great job of helping us and bringing fans and support to our team. But I think we have to start reaching outside of our of our youth club in order to find fans, and I think that's what this team will help us do.
So with that said, you've mentioned like kind of looking around at other leagues. So is this like MLS Next Pro and or USL League One? I guess there's a couple options there. Like, what was the desired landing spot? I guess.
But I think we're keeping all of our options open at this point. We've spoken to a couple of different leagues, and it's we watched Chattanooga do it this year in the league, and they had a pretty seamless transition from NISA to MLS Next Pro. So we inquired about that. We inquired about another league as well. So I think we're just going to keep our options open, and let's just see if we can grow this brand, and let's just see how far we can go with it in NISA, and then hopefully the opportunity presents itself, and we can make a move that's best for our brand and for the league that we move into.
So NISA for now, but going back to kind of developing the fan base outside of the youth world, what would be like the catchment area for the Stars?
I'm not sure. I think I think schools is an easy one. We're trying to keep the Michigan Stars family based. We're trying to keep the atmosphere family friendly. We're not going after um, certain fans that create havoc. We're looking to continue to build on the family atmosphere that we have. We welcome kids, we welcome parents, grandparents. So I think that's the approach that we're going to take, and we'll see where it goes. We're in a very family area as far as the location's concerned, with a lot of cities nearby that are soccer fans, and we just need to start tapping into that market. We really haven't ever explored what that looks like. So I think there's a lot of opportunities, but we're going to stay family friendly and really focus our marketing towards that.
It sounds like yeah, there's definitely a lot of work on hand. And you mentioned new hires. Like, what kind of a workforce you talking about here for the 2024 season?
Well, I think it'll be three individuals. There'll be somebody that's going to be in charge of sales and ticketing to really handle the fan and the fan experience, and then there'll be somebody that handles the marketing portion, which they can work hand in hand if we have a promotion um, for a company that wants to do something special at one of the games. But really, it's going to be a salesperson to bring fans to the game. It'll be a marketing person to bring advertising dollars and marketing to the club, and then social media. We have to get a little bit better at our social media and our posts, and just bring some, just make the whole experience a professional experience.
What's been kind of the thing that has kept you, energetic and enthusiastic about the Stars? I guess what's been your favorite part of this journey?
Well, every day's different. So I wake up and I've got probably a 2 week log of work that needs to be done at this point. But it's the beginning of the season, and it's a lot of my time goes into finding players. So I'm speaking to agents pretty much all day, every day. I get tons of text messages and emails with 5 minute video clips. So I've watched more 5 minute video clips in the last 2 weeks than I have in probably my whole life. So I've seen a lot of soccer from foreign countries. I've seen a lot of soccer from college. I've seen a lot of pro soccer. So just trying to evaluate players and then having conversations with players to see what their values are, see what their competitiveness is, see if they'll fit with what we're trying to do here. So that's been that's most of my time as of right now, is finding players. We're looking for an assistant coach also this season. So we interviewed somebody today for that position, but it's never ending. We're looking to figure out branding wise, if our current uniform sponsor is the best choice for us. I've talked with another uniform manufacturer and has been working out a deal with them. So there's a lot that goes on. It's and interviewing people for advertising and social media and marketing. So those have been going on. So it's really nonstop. It's there's a lot of work that goes on here, and the cool part is you might get a player or two a day to sign, that you've been working on for a couple of days or a couple of weeks. So it makes that time feel worthwhile, that the team's starting to come together, and it's exciting. We had a tryout last week, Thursday, Friday. We had almost 50 guys show up to that, and that was an agent only tryout. We've got an open tryout coming up this week, Thursday, Friday. That's an open tryout that's open to anybody. And then we start preseason February 5th. So, it's when you're in third division professional soccer, you put a team together the best you can, and then guys start to fall into your lap. So it's, there's people that have MLS dreams, and they either get cut from the roster or don't make it. So then they usually drop down to USL Championship. And as soon as they drop down, that pushes some guys out from USL Championship, and those guys fall into our lap. So, we try to put together the best team that we can now, and then coming up in the next couple weeks is when their rosters have to be finalized, and then there's a whole new crop of players that become available, and you got to analyze those guys and see if they fit your team and see if they fit a hole that you might have. And and then once that gets going and or completed, then the season starts. So kickoff is right around the beginning of or middle of March. NISA is doing an East and a West this year, and there's a mini, they're calling it a bubble. So in Atlanta, we'll be having our first games, and we will only be playing the teams from the West while we're in this bubble. And for the regular season, we'll only play the East teams. And then the finals for the playoffs will be East against West. So they're trying to, as a league, cut down on some of the travel expenses that teams incur. And it's one of the biggest expenses that we have every year. It's a trip to California is $35,000, $40,000 for the team to travel. And, there's 3-4 teams in California, and that means 3 or 4 trips or 8 trips to California. So they're trying to keep it more localized. So some of the travel expenses are cut down. So it's nonstop. I travel with the team. I sit on the bench with the team. I help out with the uniforms. I'm the guy that puts the names on the back of the uniforms. So I wear a lot of hats, and I'm excited to pass some of those hats off to other people this season and take a more a look from above rather than a look from being in the middle of it, all the time.
Yeah, that's quite the overview of all the different tasks. I really like that rundown of kind of like you broke down where the player pool comes from, as well as the multitude of tasks, like just to spell it out, how not only is there a soccer team, but there's a marketing firm, a branding firm, a clothing wear, a digital store, registration, administration, like so many different layers go into making a team just to operate, get from A to B and get across the line. And then but you also broke down a little, gave us a little bit of a hint at what the NISA season looked like, and you said there's going to be a bubble. When was that, and can you explain that a little bit more?
Well,
That's like
I
that's
guess
just
it's
to
not
start the season.
finalized, so I might have let the cat out of the bag a little bit. But basically, all the teams are going to get together in one location, and this will be an opportunity for the teams in the East to play the teams in the West, and vice versa. So there's 2 opportunities that the league is talking about this season, so one will be in the East and one will be in the West. So they're trying to, like I said, cut down on some of the costs of travel, and everybody will get an opportunity to play everybody, but in one location. So I think they're talking about 2 or 3 games against the West Coast teams while we're in the East Coast location. This is hard. I'm on all the calls and meetings for the league, and I'm not exactly sure what we can say, what we can't say. So there's a location in the East that will be playing 2 or 3 teams from the West in, and that's starting in the middle of March. So we really have about a month to put the team together and get some practices under our belt. And that was really designed because our season always starts after the Open Cup, and we're always, as a league, at a disadvantage playing USL Championship teams because by that time, USL Championship teams usually have 3-4 games under their belt. And for us, we're still trying to put a team together, once the Open Cup starts. So it's designed to give us a little bit better chance to compete with whoever we play in the Open Cup, so that we have some games under our belts and not going out there for our first game against a team that's from USL Championship.
Yeah, because you guys played Indy 11 right off the bat last year, right?
Yeah, correct. And had a good chance to win the game and took it into overtime. And like our guys just died. They were out of juice, and it was the first game we had played. And we were at Indy, and it was a tough game. Obviously, they're in USL Championship, so they're a division above us. And we went up 1-0, and then they scored with about, I think it was 10 minutes left in the second half, and then we had an opportunity to score with 2 minutes left, and the goalie made an incredible save and put us into overtime, and then we just ran out of gas. We let in 2 goals in overtime and lost 3-1. But I think it's a good opportunity for our league. We've got a lot of good players in our league, and teams are starting to, in the leagues above us, they're starting to notice some of our teams and our players. And we sent another player to Europe, actually to Hong Kong this season. But we've had 3 or 4 guys now from our team make the transition to go to Europe. And there's a lot of eyes that watch soccer, and I think there's only, not exactly sure what the number is, but 73 or something like that professional soccer teams in the United States. So it's an opportunity for guys, and there's a lot of good players that are in this league, and it's an opportunity for guys to get some exposure, and especially playing in the finals like we have for the last 2 years, it gets some more exposure onto guys. Yeah, so that's a long-winded answer to your question, but hope it helps.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. It makes sense for there to be a way for NISA to play all the teams, but not have to make bankrupting type journeys each and every year, but it balance the schedule out. That makes sense, and that's an interesting note to learn that they're observing and adapting to the issues of its members. So a different look coming out from the league, and there's definitely been no shortage of storylines for NISA, and then including you guys last year. The final up in Romeo was the streak of the first non-Michigan team winning the league. How did that happen?
Are you rubbing this in, or because there's a lot of pain still that came out of that game, and I think we played our worst game of the season at the most important time, and completely frustrating. Didn't even have a shot on goal, I don't think, in the game, and just a completely frustrating game, and a game that we probably win 9 times out of 10, and just happened to. I mean, they were on a hot streak, and they had beaten the first place team and the third place team. So we finished second in the league, and they completed the sweep of beating the first, second, and third place team. So they were hot. We knew they were coming in hot, and we just laid an egg. We just didn't come out and play, and and it was disappointing. And I mean, that's what led to a lot of changes coming into the season this year. Is I needed to change the roster and to get some different guys in here that wanted to compete and wanted to win and really wanted to win at all costs. And I think there were some guys on the team last year that it's a long season. We start in February and we're done in November. And I think it's, for younger guys, it's a drain. It's a long season. You get bruises and knocks and muscle pulls, and I mean you're competing with the best of the best, week in, week out. And so we just needed to make some changes in order to compete this year and hopefully win it. So I think I've got 6 or 7 guys signed, and I'm trying to fill out a roster of 26. But I mean, just disappointing last season. After the regular season that we had, and winning the first playoff game, we're feeling pretty good about ourselves, and just laid an egg, like I said, in the finals. And it's disappointing, and you think you're going to win every game, and similar to the Lions, it's difficult. You make a mistake or a couple mistakes, and you lose. And that's what happened in the game. It was kind of a fluke goal that they scored. One of our guys was sliding to stop it. It went between his legs, and it just went underneath our goalkeeper. And I think that might have been their only shot of the game as well. So just frustrating, and but every year you learn from stuff, and I think from last year's team to this year's team that I'm building, I'm just looking for some different guys, some hungrier guys. I think when you win it one year and you're trying to repeat, trying to get the same energy and excitement level up is difficult. So we're doing a pretty good roster change this year. There'll be a handful of guys that we keep from the previous season, but it's mostly going to be a new roster and made up of guys who are hungry and want to win, and have some experience, a little bit more experience than we had last year. So when we do play in these big games, that they've been there before, or are able to control the nerves and energy and excitement that comes into a final. I think we were nervous, and I just don't think we could get rid of our nerves. And it took basically for them scoring on us in the second half before guys realized that they needed to kick in and get some more energy and get some attacks on their goal. But it was too little too late in that game. So frustrating. We had a great crowd, like we do in the finals games, and we had over 1,000 again this year with the final. And it's those experiences that help our team grow and our brand grow. And hopefully with the guys that I find this year, we can win it again this year.
You seem very deeply affected by the end of the last season, and it seems like I can tell that there's a burning desire in you to not replicate the same results from last year, and I could tell that you're going to put every ounce of energy into rebuilding the team to go that one step further to not replicate that same result at the end of last year. So big turnover in players, adding new staff, kind of a new outlook on things at Michigan Stars, and new objectives, it seems like, too, a kind of a remolding from what you're saying here. So I guess what would I guess that with how big that task sounds, what are your goals like at the end of 2024? What do you want to have accomplished, and what would be success?
Well, obviously, on the field, another championship. You know, 2 and 3 years doesn't sound all that bad, so I wouldn't mind winning another championship. And then I think with the rebrand, as we figure out not only apparel, but you're starting to see a lot of Michigan Stars stickers on cars as you drive around the area. I think you're starting to see the brand take off, and I think it's just capitalizing on that brand awareness that we're starting to get. So I think an increase in attendance, and I don't want to throw a figure to it, but a noticeable increase in attendance, a noticeable increase in advertising, and just putting a more professional product out there, so that there's a difference in the broadcast. Our broadcasters are great, but just hearing a little bit of sponsorship in between, maybe in between the halves, or at different parts of the game. So I think just making some brand awareness, really just trying to increase the attendance and dollars that we can bring in, and I think will be reasonable. Obviously, you'd like to have a year's head start on a project like this, and we will basically have a couple weeks of head start before our season starts. So, like I said, maybe towards the end of the season, we try to take a few games, or maybe the second half of the season, we take a few games and really focus on those games, and just see what the product can look like. So
As far as game presentation, you mean?
yeah, game presentation, and we'll just see how it goes. I mean, maybe it's a struggle, maybe it's easy. Like I said, we haven't tried it yet at all, so just keeping an open mind, and hopefully we hire the right people who that are hungry and want to see the brand grow and us succeed. And I'd like to leave it open, but I think just a noticeable difference for us, and we'll put some kind of monetary value to it internally that we'd like to hit, and then hopefully we can hit it.
So with all the changes coming, you were talking about seeing the Michigan Stars logo on some cars and stuff like that. So there's no plans to redo the badge?
We talked about it. It was definitely a topic of conversation. We might have had a few mock-ups done, but I think for this year, I know for this year it's going to stay the same. But you never know if another opportunity pops up with a different league, then maybe a whole complete rebranding is done at that point, and we come out fresh and new with something different. But I mean, those discussions have occurred, but at this point, we're going to stay with the 1970s version of the Michigan Stars badge, and we'll move forward when the time is right.
It really sounds like this might be the genesis of a larger project that builds beyond 2024. Your plan might not be in full realization quite just yet in 2024.
Correct.
So
I think it really just depends on really how quickly I can get a team in place, and how quickly we can. I mean, we don't even have a schedule out for the season yet, so it's hard to plan when you don't even know when your games are. But I think I think we're just looking forward to see what we can do this season. And obviously, when you're doing something like this, the second year is always going to be better than the first year, and we know that, we started late with this. So it's just a matter of you got to draw the line in the sand somewhere, and we're doing that now. And hopefully we see some results this season, and if not, then next season you should see a considerable difference.
And did you say earlier that there was going to be a new coaching hire or just an assistant? I'm trying to remember what you said on
Yeah,
that.
just an assistant. I think I think there's a lot of cool things and fun things about having a job like this, but there's also some tough parts to it, which you're surrounded by the team and the staff, pretty much 24 hours a day. You're on the road with these guys, you're traveling with them, from February till mid-November, and making decisions on who to keep and who to let go. Those are tough decisions, and you become friends with people, and yeah, you have to tell people that we're moving in a different direction, and those are tough conversations. They're tough decisions. They're where they're well thought out, and um, it's hard making changes sometimes, but that's part of the job is being the GM, and now the job that I hold currently, and you have to make some tough decisions, and usually it's friends and relationships that you can be having lunch with and dinner and breakfast with the same guys, every day, every week, every month, and then the season ends, and you gotta make that decision. Is it the right hire? Is it time to move on? Is it just going in a different direction? And it's amazing how quickly those friendships just disappear when you got to tell somebody they're not coming back, the next season. So lots of decisions, lots of input goes into those decisions, lots of watching film, watching games, watching practices, seeing things that you like, seeing things you don't like, trying to keep a team together for a season without ruffling feathers during the season. I mean, there's a lot that goes into keeping a team together, and being the GM of a team. And um, yeah, it's those decisions that keep me up at night, and um, make my job difficult at times.
The tough personal choices. They're both pieces on a chessboard, but also like you said, people that you get to know and spend a lot of time with. One of the most entertaining players that I've seen the Stars field is goalkeeper Tatenda Makruva, and he definitely has an action-packed style. Was there any? Did he? Life on the road. Was there any? What are some of your favorite stories with him? Did he live the same way he plays his game?
He's very quiet, very low key. To be honest, you don't see much of him when you're on the road. He has a daughter, and spends a lot of time talking on the phone with his daughter. Um, a lot of guys have different routines, right? Some guys like to eat, sleep. A lot of guys, some guys like to be out in the lobby the entire time. A lot of guys are continuing their education, so you'll see guys studying. It's just a mix of guys and what happens on the road. We try not to, or I try not to pick hotels near nightclubs and different atmospheres that might tempt players to go out at night. So I usually typically find a hotel out in the middle of nowhere, and that's where we stay, and it's quiet, and we get food brought in so the players don't have to leave the hotel. So we try to keep it low key. We try to keep the guys calm. I mean, my room on the road is usually filled with snacks and goodies and fruit and healthy stuff. So guys can come into there and grab a snack and grab fruit and drinks and stuff like that whenever they want to, which has led to my off-season diet, because when there's goodies and junk food in your room, it's easy to grab a bag of something before you go to bed. But yeah, he's quiet. He's pretty low key, and practice and the field, and the game field is his theater, and he comes alive during games and practices, and he's got a good sense of humor and jokes around, and but on the road he's quiet, and he finds a room and you don't see him till meals, and he strolls down to get food and eats, and typically heads back up to the room and relaxes. And like I said, everybody's different though. Some guys go for walks, and some guys go to church when we're on the road, and it's just, there's a lot of different guys and personalities and backgrounds when you're dealing with a team. And we travel typically with 16 to 18 players, and you got our photographer usually travels with us, and myself and George and the coach and assistant coach, or the assistant coaches and trainer. So there's usually 25-ish people that are on the road. So not everybody likes the same things, and you just try to accommodate the different backgrounds of the players. And some have food allergies, and I mean it's just a different you're trying to keep everybody happy. And yeah, but going back to Tim, it's he's very quiet, and doesn't say a whole lot, and like I said, on the field it's his theater, and where he's comfortable, and performs very well usually.
Yeah, he's definitely an eye-catching player, especially from the goalkeeper position. That's not always the position that lends itself to expressing yourself, but he definitely finds a way to do that with his play out there for you. You mentioned
He's been doing a lot with the youth club this year as well. So he's got, I'll head up to the sports facility, and he's there giving lessons, and helping out the youth, and helping kids in the area, from not only our club, but I think he's venturing out into different clubs now. And he's great with the kids. He's great with parents, and he's got a charisma about him that people like.
so is he amongst those players that's in the core that's coming back?
He hasn't signed quite yet. We actually have a meeting tomorrow with him to discuss his contract. So I'll know more in the next few days.
Just a couple more for you. In amongst that team that you're tasked with building, is there any local young kids or anyone from the region that has a shot at the team?
Well, we always try to go local first. We it's nice having local Michigan kids on the team. We have, last year we probably had 5, 6 guys that were local. Some of those guys are coming back. As soon as I get their contracts in hand, I can tell you who some of those guys are. But there'll be some of the local guys from last year's team are coming back this year, and hopefully we can add a few more. Like I said, tryouts, we're still in that phase, but to win, you have to go all over, and you have to, it's really all over the world. Talking to a player from Brazil today, Canada, I mean, just from literally all over the place. There's players that you're talking with. So yeah, it's you hope you can get Michigan guys. I would love to have a team completely full of Michigan guys, but um, we just haven't had that luck yet in building a team with strictly Michigan players.
It seems like a difficult proposition to have that many players all at the same level, all at the same time, that, with the same objectives. That would be quite the puzzle piece to have an entire Michigan based team.
Right.
But so with the changes in the staffing, are we going to see George at the games this year?
Yeah, George will be there. He'll be on the bench, I think, more this year than he has in the last year. So, um, just like I said, he's taking more of a backseat to the boring stuff, so to speak, and getting in the front seat of the fun stuff, which is more team stuff and practices and stuff like that.
And so he still wants to be hands-on and likes to be hands-on with the playing personnel.
Yeah, well, his son was played in Europe, Stephen, and he used to like to go over there and watch his son play. So um, I'm sure there'll be trips back to Europe when he gets the opportunity to. So I think that's also part of my job is to hold down the fort while he's in Europe and doing his business stuff. So I think he's going to be more low key in a lot of different areas than he's been in the past, and really just focus on doing some team stuff and being with the guys.
So to wrap up here with all the exciting changes coming up with the Stars, what's the next thing after the listeners listen to this? What are the next few things of news or odds and ends they might see from the Stars here coming up shortly?
Yeah, I think tentatively our first home game is April 6th. Like I said, they're still finalizing the schedule, but I think that's I think that's going to be our home game, at least sometime early April. Maybe I should put it that way instead. As soon as we get the schedule that or the news that the schedule has been completed, we'll come out with what that is and different opportunities and marketing things towards those games when they do come out. The season's going to be a little bit shorter this season, so it's going from March until the end of October. So the finals, I think they said, is on October 25th this season. So we won't have to bring out the winter parkas and freeze for those games in the playoffs, um, which usually is to our advantage because you're playing West Coast teams. But I hate being cold, so anytime I can play a game in the warmth is exciting to me. But we'll play. The Open Cup will be announced at some point in the next few weeks, so that's always exciting to see who we get to play there. I mean, it's nonstop now until pretty much the end of October, and once the travel kicks in, then we're always on the road, and I'm always planning trips and uh, airplane tickets for 25 people isn't always the easiest thing to do with limited flights now and renting cars and all the things that go into finding 15 hotel rooms at an empty hotel. All those things go into going on the road and figuring out where to go for the season. So I mean, there's a lot to do here in the next 3 4 weeks, 5 weeks before our season starts, and I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, it's never each day is always different, so you never get bored with what you're doing. It's constantly changing.
I think I know the answer to this, but what's the easiest thing to order for 25 people to eat? If you're on the road and you need to feed guys, what's the easiest thing?
Well, guys love Chipotle, so that's the easiest thing. They all find something to eat there. That's usually their go-to, and by the end of the season, I'm so sick of Chipotle. It's god awful to me after the eighth month or ninth month in a row of eating out and eating at Chipotle. But we try to. That's kind of their treat when we travel. Is Chipotle, and we try to make them eat healthy as we're on the road, and usually a good chicken, rice, chicken potatoes, chicken or pasta. I mean, guys always, I try to mix it up so it's something always different for them. But they love Chipotle.
That's funny. I was wrong. I assumed that it was always pizza is the easiest thing to order for a large group, but Chipotle is funny. I can just imagine a lineup of 25 players with their burritos.
Yeah, it's always fun to walk into Chipotle with 25 people too. The staff at the restaurants like just cringe when they see everybody walk in, and the poor people that walk in behind us are waiting an hour to get their food, and or you just see them pull up and see the line and they don't even get out of the car. But it's a challenge feeding that many guys, and they all eat like crazy, and I mean the Chipotle bill is a fortune by the time that last guy goes through.
Well, good luck to finding all the finest Chipotles across North America as you embark on the 2024 season. It's exciting to see the turn for the Stars looking to go into new areas of growing the club. And thank you for spending so much time with the Michigan Soccer Central podcast. And hopefully we can check in later in the season and see how the new initiatives are going.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Chris Mclnally, brand new CEO of Michigan Stars. Thank you very much for joining the Michigan Soccer Central podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to my guest this week, Chris Mclnally from the Michigan Stars, with quite a bit of insight into running a team, being a GM, and then kind of a couple tidbits as to how this NISA 2024 season might go. So thank you to Chris for his time. Thank you, listener, for checking out the episode and sticking around to the end. Thank you to Jenny Hajnaki for editing the program. As always, prayer and thoughts to our dear Jenny, laid up with some back issues. So quick recovery to her. And then the Michigan Soccer Central core team and those boys over at We Are Soccer Central. Be sure to follow along with all those updates of all the new teams coming out this summer, all the new clubs, and all your other updates from the Great Lakes State and the beautiful game that we love at MI Soccer Central across the social medias. And until next time, everybody, please enjoy your soccer.